Newt Gingrich is with us, former Speaker of the House. We're 34 days away from an election. Best-selling book, Trump's America, The Truth About Our Nation's Great Comeback. Well, I guess that's on the ballot in 34 days. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well, and I think, you can't have shame if your only interest is raw power. And that's what we've seen. Dianne Feinstein deliberately holding the letter was about raw power. The fact that you have a Democratic senator who says if you're for Kavanaugh, you are complicit with evil. That's raw power. The kind of smearing, dishonest questions and accusations that we've seen, that's raw power. And that is what this election is about. This election will decide what kind of country we are. How many Americans are really comfortable with this kind of character assassination, dishonesty, and all-out effort to destroy decent people? And I think that's going to be, that's truly on the ballot, even if it's not on the ballot, because all of us have now seen, right there on television, without editing, without distortion, we've seen how bad these people are.
Well, I just, on a level that we've never seen before, and I guess it really comes down, there are 5 people, but I think it really 2 of the Democrats that would consider voting for Judge Kavanaugh. They'll only do it, I believe, if in fact there's enough Republicans to get him over the finish line. But it comes down to Susan Collins, it comes down to Lisa Murkowski, and Senator Jeff Snowflake, who is on his I Want to Be President trip to New England this week, most of the week, and his media tour, which is second to none. So how does this end up?
Well, I think in the short run, I'm an optimist. I think that the basic decency of Judge Kavanaugh and of his family, the sense that most Americans have that he has been smeared and treated with a vicious personal attack, all those things I think mean that the Susan Collins of the world are going to vote yes, and he's going to be confirmed probably by Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and he'll be on the court. But the deeper underlying lesson that all of us should learn about who these people are, how they operate, how truly dishonest and vicious they are, I hope that stays for a very long time.
Let me ask you, with 34 days out of an election, you were there as a strategist when Reagan became president. For the first time in 40 years, you ran on something, and you got the entire caucus of Republicans, House and Senate, to agree to nationalize an election and make promises to America. You called it the Contract with America, and that you promised you would vote on 10 specific items in the first 100 days, of which you did accomplish that task. And Republicans, for the most part, with a few bumps, hiccups in the road, have been in power since. How do Republicans now, I think the anger of the base is beyond anything I've seen in recent years, rightly so, over what's going on with the Kavanaugh hearings and the Democrats. Democrats don't have a vision for the future. We had 8 horrible years of Obama. We've had 2 very successful years of President Trump. What is the pitch? What should these congressmen and women and senators be saying?
Well, let me say, first of all, I think the president has done a great job. If you watch his various trips, such as Mississippi, he'll be in Minnesota, but he's laying out the case that if you want results, you have a team called Republicans, and if you want resistance, you've got a team called Democrats. And he's been laying out, and you see it in the numbers. I mean, people realize the lowest unemployment for African Americans in history, lowest unemployment for Latinos, continuous economic growth, many good things that are happening. And I think the president has set the stage now to pivot and spend these last 5 weeks telling us what's coming next. We've got this much done that, America, I loved Vice President Pence the other night. He said America's coming back. He didn't say we're back yet, because we're not. We still have a lot of work to do. But we're coming back. And now we have a chance with the president's leadership. And I think this election ought to be about which kind of America do you want us to be? Do you want us to keep coming back, keep creating jobs? Do you want us to control the border to save our children from MS-13 gangs, from fentanyl, and from opioid death? Are you prepared to be part of a team that wants constitutional judges, not radicals? I think that campaign could be stunningly successful, and we could have as much fun on election night as we had in 2007.
Why? I mean, I hear optimism in you that I'm going to be honest, I don't quite share it. I'm not there with you. I think it can happen. I believe it's winnable. I believe the Republicans can keep the House. I think that Rick Scott can win the Senate in Florida. I think Republicans can defeat Joe Donnelly in Indiana, Joe Manchin in West Virginia, Claire McCaskill in Missouri. I think they can beat Heidi Heitkamp. I think Martha McSally's a great candidate out in Arizona. I think Dean Heller can hold his seat in Nevada. But I think they're all tight races. And then we've got about 50 competitive House races, which could tip the balance of power there.
So, of course, look, that's why we have campaigns. Look, we got 35 days out here to go out and win. And I remember, and you remember because you were there, 2016, 2 weeks out. I do an interview with Megyn Kelly, and she's telling me how we're going to lose Pennsylvania, we're going to lose Michigan, we're going to lose Wisconsin. I just said to her, we have two alternative universes. In my universe, I believe the average American is so disgusted with this resistance-oriented left-wing radicalism. I think the average person knows when you hear a Democrat say they're for Medicare for all, they're talking about destroying Medicare. They're talking about destroying your health insurance. They're talking about bankrupting the country. And I think that we just have to go out and wage a campaign. And I must say, President Trump is doing as good a job of getting out on the stump, telling the truth, laying it out as anybody I've ever seen. And I believe in the American people. My optimism grows out of a belief that the average, hardworking, decent American is disgusted by what they just saw happen to Kavanaugh, is committed to a work ethic and to a better future. And as the Democrats get more radical, I think you're going to see the Republicans continue to move. For example, government-run health care means tax-paid abortion. Well, there are very few places in America where there's a majority for your tax dollars paying for abortions. And I think we have to be prepared to tell the truth, lay into it in a direct way, and if we do that, we're going to have a very good election night.
All right, got to take a quick break from our nation's capital. More with Newt Gingrich on the other side. All right, we continue. Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, 34 days till Election Day. What are the top issues? I mean, I always thought Reagan, when he ran for re-election, and are you better off than you were 4 years ago? I think a legitimate case can be made. Are you better off now than you were 2 years ago?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, first of all, the economy is doing so well. It is such a great vindication of Trump's leadership and of solid conservative principles of less regulation, lower taxes, better trade agreements. I mean, just look at the job creation engine that's out there. So the economy's got to be a big part of it. I think second, you have to recognize that we have to improve the health system. We have to solve the challenge of preconditions. We have to show people that we can take the current system and step by step have real results, making it better, which is much better than going out and creating some giant government-run health system. Third, I think this question of controlling the border, when it becomes a question, do you want an MS-13 gang in your child's high school? Do you want to have fentanyl and opioids coming across the border to kill 70,000 Americans a year? I think that the Democrats, with their commitment to open borders, their desire to abolish ICE, their whole attitude about sanctuary cities, I think that could be a zone where they just collapse as a party. Fourth is judges. Most Americans want American judges who interpret the American Constitution. They don't want radicals who are rewriting us. And then finally, the President's brilliant speech at the United Nations laid out what's going to be one of the great issues by 2020. Do you want a government, an American government, that worries about Americans? Or do you want an American government that worries about globalism and international bureaucrats? And I think the Democrats are so committed to basically spending America, propping up international bureaucracies, that the gap there is going to be so huge, it's amazing.
You know, I think these are times unlike any other. You know what's exciting is we are on the verge. 14 states, record low unemployment. Hispanic Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, 65-year low unemployment. Women in the workforce, youth unemployment, 55-year low. This is such an opportunity. Ending burdensome regulation, new trade deals. All of this means that Americans have an opportunity now, the forgotten men and women during the Obama years, to prosper more than they ever have. Nice cars, nice homes, safe neighborhood, vacations to Disney. That dream is within everybody's reach with the proper plan for economic growth.
That's right. And everybody who likes the direction we're going in, everybody who wants more jobs, everybody who wants to be sure that we're safe from illegal criminals and drugs, everybody who wants to have a health system that's practical and works, they have got to go vote. I mean, that's going to ultimately be the key, because elections come down to who shows up and who votes.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.